Hey everyone, it is Tuesday. You know what all that means? It's Tuesday Toots, or tutorials. Toots is just a short term. But these are the evenings that I get to spend with you guys, and we get to create something magical and wonderful with SilverSilk, with beads, with wire, findings, all kinds of wonderful things. I always look forward to these tutorials, and I'm back in it to win it for the full year. And we're gonna do a lot more hollow mesh projects. So tonight's project I'm pretty excited about because this just was a project that was inspired completely at the last minute and trying to think, and by last minute I guess it was like a couple weeks ago because I was trying to develop some projects and then it just like instantly clicked and I was like, oh, I could just create a bangle out of wire and some beads. And here we are. Real quick shout out to some friends that have joined in already. Hi, Emily. Hi, Rosalinda. Got Lily here. Hi, Lucy. It's good to see you. Hey, Sue. And Patricia are both watching. It's good to see you, ladies. For you folks out there, if you wouldn't mind giving a quick share to our bead buddies or bead groups and stuff, just so they know that I'm alive doing tutorials. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Julie. Sherry Ann. It's good to see you guys. How's everyone doing today? Hi, Rosadelle. I'm doing great. She's asking how I'm doing. I'm doing great. I've had a really good week so far. I know it's only Tuesday, so it's a little too soon to tell, but things are just kind of going according to plan, and so I can't really be too upset over that, right? Hi, Robin. Hi, Ray. Good to see you, ladies. Yeah, so lots of hollow mesh projects coming up. I'm going to post what we're going to work on next week over the weekend. And I've got a kit planned for that one, actually, so that'll be a little bit easier to find supplies for, because it'll just be prepackaged. But that'll be a fun one. Many of you have picked up the Northern Lights kit. Quick show of hands who have. Hi, Julia. Hi, Vicky. Yeah, so here's what it looks like. And several of you have already received it in the mail and are super excited about it. So that brings pure joy to my heart because I've got a couple projects planned for that kit. And I'm making these kits purposely more project-oriented rather than just random supplies, in opposite to, I think, what I did last year. So anything that you see in the kits will definitely be put to use, and maybe you'll have some materials left over as well, which is perfect because I know how much you guys love to create. Vicky says, I got mine. I think it was, yeah, she got hers and she peeked, which is fine. You guys are, once you start getting them, go ahead and peek away. It's there for the mystery and the fun for it all. So, that's exciting. I think that's, quite underway. Our class for that is going to be in February 16th, I believe. I'll have to double check that date, but it will cover a Tuesday Toot in February. And that'll just be the class for that. I still have some kits left. I'm about probably 85% sold out. But you can grab that at silversilkonline.com if you still want to grab one. There's plenty of time to be shipped and brought to your front door. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Paula. New earbuds is asking Vicky. No, these are my old ones. I need to get new ones, in fact, because these run out of battery in 10 minutes, so I need to get better ones. I was looking at earbuds today, in fact, for my Apple devices, so we'll see. Hi, Terry. The other accessories around Northern Lights that you can get is this beautiful teal pearlescent chain that I made, and this is a limited edition chain only. And what I didn't get to cover, I didn't get to show this in the last video. I don't know why, because it's such a beautiful chain that I wanted to show off. But several of you have ordered, I think, 2 or so feet of this, which if you do order more than 2 feet, more than 2 spools, they're going to be connected together. So this is, I'm actually cutting this as people are ordering it. So if you say in the shopping cart that you want 2 spools of the teal pearlescent chain, you'll have a full 6-foot spool that's not going to be cut. Just something to keep in mind as you're shopping. The other stuff is prepackaged, so I'm afraid I can't do that with everything. But I have to read some of these funny comments. Dawn says, hello, Papa. Papa Silk, I think in Silkies is what she is typing there. So, Papa Silk. Silk Daddy, whatever you want to call me. I answered to all of them. So yeah, and then Holly says this is a beautiful color. It really is. I mean, this is a teal. I'm such a teal guy, you guys. Like teal everything in my life. Teal and olive green, as you can see. Some of my favorite things. What else do I have? I've got this beautiful like rainbow pendant that is also on sale as part of the Northern Lights theme. So the teal chain in this, which may or may not be in the kit, little spoiler there. But if you want to grab extras, they're also available. I just think this is so beautiful. And especially when you peek into it in the light, you get this really cool rainbow effect. But I really love that. What else do I have? Show of hands. How many of you are going to the Great Bead Extravaganza? It's coming up. It's coming up very soon. In a couple weeks, I'll be one of 16 or 17 companies that is presenting a project, a how-to, a tutorial, something or another on February. Oh, lots of like emojis and thumbs up, excuse me. So that's exciting. I'm so glad you guys are going to be there. So my class will be on February 7th, and it'll be a really fun one. Let me just show you, because I wore it. We're going to be making this guy, and I love this design so much. As you can see, it's got a beautiful, so this is one of those where you have to get your own bead, and I'm going to show you how to do this really cool wire wrapping technique. Super easy to do. This is all available in a kit. So if you order by this weekend, you should be able to have it for class. These things are shipped on the day of that you order, most likely. I've been getting stuff out really fast as I can, because I know many of you don't want to miss the make-alongs or anything with me. So it is important that I do ship out on time. But look at this piece. Isn't that just fabulous? I love how it can be worn this way. It can be turned around in case you want to wear it on the other side. And look at that. So it's one of those no clasp pieces, and you know how much I like the no clasp necklaces. I think those are my favorite, because just it takes out a lot of the extra razzle dazzle, and I don't know, as a minimalist designer, I think just having something easy to wear that you could throw on and just leave the house with is fantastic. So I really like that piece. I hope you'll grab the kit. There's plenty of kits left. Sorry guys, I'm like scrolling just to make sure I don't miss any comments. Vicky is asking, are you wearing sparkly shoes? No, but I am wearing colorful socks. They're quite cozy. I don't wear shoes in my own home. It's just a thing that I think do, like my family doesn't do it either. So I think it's an Asian thing anyways, but yeah, so like I get to either be barefoot or have warm socks on. Today it's a cold day outside, so I'm wearing warm socks. They're very fuzzy and very warm. All right, enough of me babbling. I'm just gonna get right down to the project because we're here to learn. Paula says toasty feet. Yes, my friend, absolutely. Gotta have the toasty feet for a cold day. All right, let me make sure that my camera is adjusted and we can cover some tools. Ooh, Vicky says she don't wear shoes in the house either. Isn't it more comfortable that way? I feel like it's not only sanitary, but it's comfortable. I don't like wearing, I don't even like wearing shoes, but I have to obviously when I leave the home. So just being at home all the time is quite good on the soul. Oh, Marianne says, nope, I'm Italian and I never wear shoes at home. Oh, that's good to know. I'm finding out a lot about you guys as you guys are finding out about me. Okay, so this is what we're gonna make tonight. Pretty sparkly, isn't it? The pearlescent red has this tinsel that's woven in it. And this is something that I took from SilverSilk and innovated the product and made a different type of knitted wire altogether. Here it is in raw form. Joan says, my husband always reminds me to take my shoes off before I make it in the door. Well, it's good to have a reminder, Joan, I'll tell you that. I think I've been doing it since I've, could remember, and now it's just, second nature to me, for me to kick off my shoes as soon as I get in. Ooh, Sherry says, never wear shoes, but I do wear soft socks. Absolutely. I like that. Just like I'm doing tonight. Okay, so I'm reading everyone's comments because they're so entertaining, but I should be talking about SilverSilk. So this is the red chain by itself, and as you can see, it is hollow. By itself, it's probably close to 3 to 4 millimeters in its width, but remember you guys last week we learned about chopsticks? We're going to be using that tonight. We're going to widen it to where it can comfortably fit 4 millimeter beads, preferably round. I have tried to fit bicones through, and there's something about the angle of that bicone that does not want to go through this really porous chain. But round beads, super easy to do. So in this case, I'm using these round red donut beads. I think I got these from, Beadsmith at least 6 years ago, and I don't use red a whole lot. This is my first red project ever. Believe it or not. Maybe not. I might take that back. I did some projects maybe with Jesse James beads back in the day, but with SilverSilk, this is certainly a first for me. And it might be for some of you out there too, because red's just, it's a very themed color that you have to use, or you don't have to use, but you can use, during a special occasion. And in this case, since Valentine's Day is coming up, this is probably a nice one to have around. But because it's also just a red basic bracelet, this is going to be a great one to match with turquoise, with, bronze color, golds. This will be a really nice, color accent for any of those. Hi, Luis. I think I tuned into some of your videos, so I'm just glad to see your name pop in. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Hi, Mimi. Hi, Donna. Good that y'all can make it in. So let me cover the other tools besides the chopstick that you'll need. You will need some cutters for the craft wire. These are Lindstrom specifically. I love these. I had a customer ask me through private message what tools I use specifically so she can grab the same exact set. And I grabbed these from Amazon. They're a little bit expensive. I think these were, I think 30 or 40 bucks, but totally worth it. These never have nicked or chipped away. They're just amazing. I should really look into some of the other cutters and tools that they have too, but I just fell in love with this pair and I've had it for a very long time. You may grab a pair of large mandrel pliers, and this one goes all the way to 8 millimeters. I grabbed these from softflexwire.com. This will be used to make that hook at the end there. And we'll be using the largest 8 millimeter end on there. Hi, Em. Lovely to see your name pop in. Thanks for joining in. Here I have a pair of chain nose pliers. These are super duper handy, as well as the round nose. We'll use these both for wire shaping. And I also have some nylon gel pliers to straighten out my craft wire. So let's go over the materials that you'll need. And I'm going to show you two colorways. First is the red. This will be all the materials I use for this bracelet. I have the donut beads in 4 millimeter, as I mentioned earlier. How many exactly, I'm not really sure. I think it depends on the wrist size that you're wanting to make it. This is about maybe an 8.5 to 9 millimeter, 9-inch bangle. And so I'm using the full strand of beads that I have on this particular strand. You'll need an equal amount of hollow mesh, maybe a little bit more, because whenever you open up those knits with your chopstick, it does compress this chain. Therefore, it kind of takes away some of the length. So you'll want to make sure that you have maybe just like 1 inch or 2 extra, just to be on the safe side. So I'm going to set that up to the side. You'll need a couple accent beads. These are just some teardrop ones that I had in my stash. And of course you can use anything you want at the end. It does not even have to be an accent bead. You can use, you know, some metal beads, a charm, bicones, you name it, it's all there. And then I've got some wire, 20 gauge craft wire. This is Softflex Gold craft wire. And you'll need approximately about, I would say maybe 12 inches to work with. That'll be pretty good to make both the clasp and, you know, the round part of our bangle there. And then you'll just need roughly 2 feet or less, about 15 inches maybe, of 26 gauge. It's pretty thin wire, and this will be used to kind of tie up our loose ends and just have it a nice, cool little messy wrap there at the end. So that's the red colorway. What I wanted to show you guys is what it might look like in white. So I have the same beads that are these donut beads in sort of a white chalk color. And then if we have time, I do want to assemble this together because I'm going to just use straight up silver. This isn't even the pearlescent chain. This is just regular silver hollow mesh. And then the same ingredients practically for the rest of this. So 20 gauge silver craft wire from Softflex and 26 gauge craft wire, roughly 2 feet of silver color craft wire. And then I've got 2 accent beads in this beautiful silver clear color. Okay, so let's go ahead and get everything set up. To make our cuff, the first thing I want to do is grab my 20 gauge wire. Ooh, folks are loving the white. I think the white's going to look really nice too. It's just a nice like additional accent color that you can pretty much wear with everything. So what I'm going to do is take my nylon jaw pliers and just straighten out my wire. Get it ready to go, to be strung. Okay. At the end here, I want to go ahead and make my loop there at the end. That'll be the first part of my clasp. I'm actually just going to grab my round nose pliers and go all the way down on the mandrel there. The further you go down, the bigger your loop size gets. And so that's something that we definitely want to pay attention to. Anita is asking, can you use memory wire? You know what, Anita? I bet you could. I actually haven't tested it, but it would be something that I'd be willing to try in a future video. So I'm glad you did ask that question, and I will definitely make a note of it to see if I can experiment with that. I think that's a really good idea. I just made a very basic simple loop, a very giant basic simple loop. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and string on my accent bead. It looks like my bead is facing, or at least the larger part of the bead, is facing the end of my loop there. So I'm going to make it go the same direction. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and string on all of my beads. So this will be slightly boring, but this is okay because I am going to read some of your funny comments that you guys are posting as I'm stringing these. And hopefully beads just don't go flying all over the place. Alright. And you could do this like several at a time. If you wanted to, you could even just string through probably the lining that it's on. Let me try that. Might help to speed things up substantially. Oh no, it looks like it'll only go one material at a time. That's okay though, I'll just do a few at a time. So I'm glad you guys are having a good evening, and again, thank you so much for joining me. Marianne is asking, can you use knitting needles instead of chopsticks? And I think the answer is absolutely yes. Knitting needles might be better anyways, MA, because it is metal, and I think the glide on it would be a lot more forgiving than a chopstick because it's wooden. The wood tends to maybe kind of, what's the word I'm searching for? It's not as smooth of a way to pull the wire through. The only thing with knitting needles is it has, I think, a blunt end. You know, the end on a knitting needle where it stops the yarn stitches. I guess unless you had an infinity knitting needle. But That would be the only thing I worry about, because it'd be easy to just put it on and then take it off the other end. But I'll have to look into that, because I'm not really even sure what size knitting needle would be appropriate for that. I'm not up to my my numbers on that one, I'm afraid. I know more about crochet hooks, though. I'll tell you that. Hey, Em, I'm so glad you were able to pop into our video. I don't think I've seen your name chime in for a long time. Holly says splinter. Hopefully not. I hope the wooden chopstick does not cause splinters. That would be very messy, too. MA is saying my knitting needles are very long. I can look to see what'll work. Yeah, that would be great. I would love to, and me and the Silkies, in fact, would love an answer on that if you want to post it later to our Silkies group. And for those of you who are out there and are not part of our Silkies group, I'm telling you, you're missing out on all the fun things in SilverSilk. You can check out our group on Facebook called the SilverSilk Silkies, named by Joan, I believe, and Ginger back in the day when we first started it. And we've just grown substantially to be a really fun little crowd of people that enjoy SilverSilk and enjoy the camaraderie of jewelry making and occasional debauchery of each other, but in the most fun and endearing way. But really, we are a super fun group. Hi, Joy. Hi, Fran. Lovely to see you, ladies. So I got all my beads strung on here, and I guess I say debauchery because I think back to, I gotta show you this. I'm so sorry. I got derailed. Look what came in the mail, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is from Joan and Ginger, and because this anniversary was like the first time I've ever done anything that was very much an event for Facebook, and that we were celebrating so many things that happened with me acquiring the company. This was like the best gift that I could have gotten, because it's a book that was sent over to me by Ginger, and it has your guys' posts, your projects, like just stuff that happened during that event in a pictorial format. And this made me cry the other day when I received it. I mean, isn't that just so cool? What a way to really showcase our fun time this past winter. And when I'm old and senile and in a nursing home someplace, and I have this book with me, like, I'm going to remember some of the best things that we all got to do together. Aww. I love this so much. There was a lot of drinking that happened during this event. Look at that. My ladies from Softflex Wire. There's Laura from Weber's. So I don't know. I had to take a break and just show you guys because that was such a cool gift. Look at that. Crazy ladies. Oh, here they are at the end celebrating. I love these videos. So this was like the perfect screenshots, you guys. And that one made me very sad because it was the last day. And, but we went out on a bang, I'm saying. That was such a fun event. Okay, well, I managed to smash some of my wire, but that's okay because we've got a chopstick, which is coming up here next, in fact. So what I'm going to do is actually cut some of this off. Again, you just need a couple inches more than what the length of your beads are. So here I've cut that. So in case you do pinch accidentally from excitement of whatever you're excited about and you're wanting to like open it back up, definitely the chopstick and or knitting needle, as MA kindly gave us a tip for, might be a good way to get that wire back out and round again. So I'm just gently kind of sliding it down the chopstick. You definitely want to make sure that whatever you're pushing it down through is round, because it's going to adhere to that shape as you're sort of forming over it. Terry says, what a special gift. I know, wasn't that? Like, that's just like my favorite thing right now. It's so, definitely, like, it was just a nice thing to gift to me because I just loved it. Joyce says, leave it to Joan and Ginger to make something cool. I'm saying they're full of ideas. They might be a little bit on the crazy side, but they got some ideas. They know how to have a good time. Okay, I am just slipping this down. And now I'm going to switch sides and then just start to push this through. So I've managed to widen my chain, but also I've taken out those kinks. You do absolutely want to be very gentle with this because we don't want to run it back through if we don't need to the chopstick. Do I have a lot of knitters out there? Speaking of knitting needles, just a question for you guys. Wouldn't that be, like, that might be something that I just suggest from now on if we've got a lot of people that like to knit and opposite to people that enjoy Asian cuisine to grab a needle of their choice. So you could see that how much it compressed because this was a couple inches longer. Let me bring it up on camera. Look at that. So good. All right, so now it comes time for me to just push it through the wire. Now, if I do it with just my wire there, you could see it's going to be a little bit of a harder time just because it's going to poke through. That can get annoying, especially when you have longer lengths of hollow mesh that you're trying to fill. So here's my tip for you guys. I just take this, and I've got a really long piece, so I'm not worried about wasting a little bit, but I am just going to bend this down into a hook. Just like that. Now what it's going to do is just kind of give it a little bit of extra, of a blunt end, I guess, to be able to push that through very easily. And it should just go right over your beads, just like that. So at one end, I'm going to actually go ahead and compress this. Stephanie, Julie is saying to Stephanie, a good excuse for ordering some Chinese. I know. I mean, I'm not knocking Asian cuisine. I will eat Chinese or Thai food every day if I could. Would never get old for me. Okay, I am just now kind of stretching this out just a little bit, just to be able to get those knits nice and opened. But as you can see, I've just pulled out a little bit, which is perfect. And then I'm just going to go ahead and compress that in. And I can trim off a little bit of extra knitted wire that I have up here. Be careful not to trim that craft wire, though. That would be really bad. Okay, there we go. And I can trim off this blunt end because I don't need that anymore. And that... that's how my wire was filled, essentially. So that happened very easily, as you can see. So now I can go ahead and string on my other bead. And at this point, what I'm going to do is grab a spool of some sort of beading wire. I've got this spool of extreme soft flex wire, but I use this as sort of my mandrel for creating my cuff form. It just happens to be the right fit. And what I can do is sort of measure where my hook will be. And to make the hook, all I'm doing is just doing a quick little, like, simple loop, almost. But I'm leaving an open end, so I'll just do a very blunt 90-degree angle bend. And then I'm going to take my larger mandrel pliers and stick those in. And then just form my wire around just like that. And then I could do a little like baby loop here at the end, just so it has something to kind of hook into. It almost kind of looks like an ear wire now that I'm looking at it. So let me see, let me grab my cutters. Probably about right there is good. And I'm going to make a little loop that goes on the opposite side. It won't be necessarily a simple loop, it'll just be a little P-shaped loop, but there you can see the hook is pretty much ready to go. Now you'll want to make sure that your loop on the other end is facing in the direction that will go into the hook. So let's do this. It might take a little bit of extra forming, but really you can get it to work however you need it to. In this case, I had it, I guess, pointing up, so I'll probably want to shift this around a little bit. So let's do that, and then have this pointing up. That might be easier actually to put on. There we go. Pretty easy though. And then now I can go ahead and wire up my ends that are raw with my 26 gauge wire. So I have one piece here, and I had said that it was roughly maybe about 10 to 12 inches. Just the more wire you have, the messier your wire wrapping can be in a good way. So, and then the less wire you have, it's just going to be a smaller wire wrapping. But really, this is easy to do. You just kind of basically push it through your raw end of hollow mesh, and then you just wrap it around and around to cover it. Very easy. I tend to use all of my wire up, and I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that my end there isn't poking out. So what I do is I just kind of feel for it, and then once I find it, I can kind of just twist it into that messy wire wrap loop, and I'm gonna do the same thing to this other side. Hi, Donna. Well, actually, you might not have to watch the replay because I think I've got enough time to make the second colorway that I had planned for this evening, which is this white set. So I'm going to do all this again, believe it or not, just so I can hang out with you guys a little longer this time, and you'll get some extra tutorial out of it. And you'll see how easy it is to use all these different materials over and over again. I'm going to trim this a little bit because that's kind of a lot of wire. There we go. Okay. That wire wrapping is so satisfying though. I'm saying it just like goes so quickly. But yeah, once you widen it, it's just nice to know that everything is everything's gonna fit through. Now, I don't know if larger beads other than 4mm work as well with the size of the hollow mesh that this is. Maybe in the near future, I might invest in doing a line of galaxy wire again. I haven't decided that quite yet. I still need to work on flat mesh, so you could see how quickly that was like easy to put together. So again, let me put those aside, and I'm gonna do the same thing in this white color. Tina, hey, good to see you. I think I saw your name chime in a while ago. Let's see, you're asking, what gauge wire did you use to string the beads through the mesh? So let's see, this is 20 gauge craft wire from Softflex, which I'm glad you're actually asking this because I can go over the materials again for some of these folks that are now tuning in. So I'm going to use 20 gauge craft wire from Softflex. I'm going to be using 26 gauge from craft wire from Softflex in silver. Both of those are in silver. I'm going to cut that in half, in fact, so that I know which side goes to which. And then some 4mm donut beads, some hollow mesh, and I have some accent beads. And these can really be whatever size you want it to be. They could be the gigantic big boho beads from Jesse James Beads, or they can be the tiny little bicone crystals from, I don't know, from anywhere. I think a great source would be beadshop.com for that. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is grab our 20 gauge wire. Cecil Design Studio, or Michelle, excuse me, is asking, what is Galaxy Wire? Galaxy Wire was a type of knitted wire that I ended up discontinuing, but it was a 10mm hollow mesh The color combinations and stuff that was made by the previous manufacturer were not that great. I will just say that. They weren't easy to use in designs. They were hard for me to market, and they were not inspiring me to do anything with it. So I just decided, since I've taken over the manufacturing of it, that I'm reinterpreting how these products would look. So the biggest thing that I've done up to this point is create this pearlescent hollow mesh, which never existed before, but it does now, and this sure is inspiring, I would say. You could just see how shiny that was whenever the camera blurred. I'm saying, I love product innovating. That way, I just feel like I know what to do with it if I have my own, imagination in it. Okay, so I am going back into my round nose pliers, and I'm going to just work it around. This is going to create the first part of my clasp, the round loop there. And basically it's just a gigantic simple loop, just like that. Very easy to do so far. I don't think I straightened out my wire, but I recommend doing that. Or maybe I did. I can't I haven't been paying attention to what I'm doing. But I do recommend that you guys straighten out your wire with nylon gel pliers just before you use it. Gets it nice and warmed up and ready to go. Easier to string the beads on, that's for sure. And speaking of, we can kind of do that now. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my accent bead and just slide that right through. And then I'm going to string on my strand of beads here. So let's see. Ooh, Stephanie, red is not your color, which is totally okay. That's why I kind of wanted to do an alternative design. Hopefully, white will be kind of easier to see what the design might look like with a different colorway altogether. I don't know, the red kind of looks a little Bollywood to me personally, now that I'm thinking about it. The red and I think it's the red and the gold. If I had done silver, I don't know how that would look instead, but for me, the gold picks up the warm tones in the pearlescent tinsel. So I don't know, I think the gold seemed to work well with that color combo. Vicky is asking, should we work harden the clasp ends for more strength? Vicky, it's not a bad idea. You can absolutely hammer it out. In fact, if you did the texture hammer, that would be cool too. You just have to be careful with 20 gauge wire because it is kind of erring on the thin side if you're wanting to do texture. So maybe just work hardening it and giving it a few taps with just a regular hammer, a regular ball peen hammer might be enough. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. Good suggestion. Okay, stringing this through. Just like that. This one will probably be less rainbowy than the other one, which is quite all right too. But I'm curious to see what they look like when they all stack together, because I'm sure it'll be gorgeous. Ooh, Shirley's loving both the red and the silver. Tina is asking when the flat mesh will make a comeback. It is actually in the works with the manufacturer who's making the parts. They're a little backed up just due to, I guess, how much work they have down the pipe right now. Probably because I didn't reserve it ahead of time. But I did place an order for a new cylinder that goes into my machine. And that will be used to hopefully create not only just flat mesh in regular colors, but also a pearlescent flat mesh, which I have in the back of my head to do. I just don't know how quite yet to do it. So it'll all be experimenting. But yeah, it's definitely in the works. All right. I have strung all of my beads on, as you can see. And now it is time for me to widen my hollow mesh. I might have done this one already now that I think about it ahead of time. Yeah, so I already went ahead and made this bigger. So, but I'll just slide it down just to show you guys, again, a demonstration of how chopsticks work. believe it or not, I am actually really good at using chopsticks for eating food. I have zero problems picking up sushi. Okay, just gonna slide this right down. There we go. Perfect. And now I'm ready to go ahead and string it into my wire. Oh, remember how I said earlier that if you string it through, it's just gonna come out these little holes that are in the mesh? And that little tip I gave you guys for just making a hook at the end will definitely save time on that. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So I'm just going to pinch this end so that I have a nice little pea pod that's happening. And on this end, I'm going to kind of just stretch this mesh out a little bit just to get it over my bead. So you could see it's like bumped up right there. So I want it to go past it just a little bit. So what I do is I just kind of push my beads down and then I just basically then press it so that it's all nice and sealed up inside. And I love this layering that's happening. You get this great texture right above the beads. That's the intricacy of the hollow mesh. And this one's not rainbow, but I think it would look super cool with any of the colors too. So just think about what beads that if you fill it inside with and how that affects the color palette. For example, whenever I made this teal hollow mesh, there is no teal wire used in this. What I did was I layered green tinsel underneath this sort of blue seafoam color. And when you're looking at it and the colors vibrate off each other, it becomes teal. And I thought that was just a fascinating discovery. So if you have just plainer colors of SilverSilk and you have some, colorful beads on the inside, like those colors tend to play off each other and it can transform into something completely different when you string it. So we'll cut that off. I'm going to go ahead and string on my second bead, just like that. Oops, actually this is pointed out. There we go. And I'm going to make the hook that will go on the other end. But what I want to do is go ahead and shape my cuff first. So I'm just using a spool of beading wire to do that. My all-expensive mandrel there, but not really. And then, let's see, I have my hook pointing toward me, so let's do that. And then we're gonna make our hook on this end. Okay, so again, I'm just gonna make a 90-degree angle bend in the wire. And then I'm gonna go into a larger mandrel plier. And I'm just gonna form that wire right around, as though I were kind of making an earring hoop there. And then I'll cut off extra, and then I'll just basically make half a simple loop on the other end. So it becomes a nice decorative little hook. And to Vicky's point earlier, you can absolutely work harden this to get it nice and secure. Okay, so I can kind of press this out to form it into a nicer, rounder cuff. So that looks really good. And now what I can do is go ahead and wrap up my ends there. What's great is I'm using silver wire with the silver mesh. In this case, I was using gold as an accent color, but this will just look like I used wire from the hollow mesh here. But yeah, then you can just take this and just twirl it round and around, get that messy loop going. Build it up as much as you want. If you don't want it super built up, then you can absolutely just cut some of the wire off, which is what I'm gonna do. Jessica is asking, is it possible to put beads in the hollow mesh without stringing them first? Yes, you can do that, and I think it depends on what bead, Jessica. So, for example, whenever I used size 11 seed beads for a demo a while back, I think I used it, in fact, in the Great Bead Extravaganza the last time, what I did was I just dropped those seed beads a little bit at a time into the hollow part of my mesh, and then I just ended up filling it up. You know what? If we're talking about it, let me see if I've got that here. Give me a second. Yeah, I do. So here's one that I just dropped in seed beads, and I really compacted it in there. Size 11 seed beads. And then I think I did one with another size crystal. Let me see if I can find that. So in this one, I used 2mm crystals to fill it up. Now, remember what I was saying on color earlier, where you have a wire color and then another accent color underneath it? So when you look at this far away, it looks kind of more on the teal side. But when you look at it up close, it's actually that green wire, known as, I think, peridot or fern on the website. And then I've got this darker sea foam color on the inside of with the check glass beads. So that just kind of gives you a theory into, like, you don't have to string them. Stringing them, is just another avenue. But in this case, I just filled it up with seed beads and it was good to go. I do worry about if you hang a pendant off of this, I don't know if it's going to like dent it because of the weight. It's something that I gotta test out. I know in this format, because the beads are so full already, that it's not going to affect it in that way. But with seed beads, they kind of tend to move around and stuff, so. Hi, Joyce! I don't think I got to say hi to you earlier if you tuned in at some point in the video, so I love seeing your name. I love seeing you. You're adorable. I love seeing you on camera as well, that you're doing your demos and stuff now. So I'm really excited and proud for you to do that. And Jessica says, thank you. Yeah, I hope that was thorough enough, Jessica. So you're very, very welcome. Just giving you a little bit of my experience there. But, again, as we move into the year with more demos with Hollow Mesh, we'll only learn more about it with different materials that I'll end up using. Some good bit of my demos are really good. Some of them are not so good. So it's a little bit of trial and error for all of us here. Okay, working this guy around. All right. And I'm just going to fold it in. Just like that. And then you can kind of play with the cuff to get it round as you need it. Alrighty. Here's my collection of cuffs. Isn't that fun? So these can all be worn at the same time. They could be mismatched. They could be worn with other ones. I don't know. I'm just making this up. I think that's so cool. It's such an easy technique to do. I mean, you can literally make a bunch of these in no time if you got the materials handy, And then each of them have such a different look. Like the red on red, you can't even tell that there's beads inside of it. It just looks so rich in the tone. And then you get to here and you just see the layers that are happening with the silver and the white. You could even do a pattern inside of it. I think that would be super cool. And then we've got these great beads that stick on the outside. So it's just a really fun way to use a hollow mesh. And I think this was a really fabulous demo. So I hope you guys will try it. I'm going to rotate my camera back around so I can talk about the stuff that's happening down the pipe here. So thank you guys for tuning in. I thought that was a really wonderful demo, and I'm glad we got to chit-chat about everything tonight. Don't forget the Great Bead Extravaganza is coming up. This is going to be such a fun event. Myself and 16 to 17 other companies are participating in this tutorial-based show whether they're selling product or showing off a cool technique. We're just doing everything and anything, and it's going to be so much fun. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, search for the Great Bead Extravaganza in Facebook. You won't want to miss this group. It's growing substantially. It's going to be such a fun show. We're doing several events throughout the year. These are going to be very heavily branded and advertised amongst our followers for each of our companies. We're all collaborating in different ways to promote each other. So it's just a wonderful way to bead together. But my project will be this necklace that I'm actually wearing. We are gonna make some drapery with silver silk. This is a no clasp necklace. Although you could if you put a clasp just below this, I think that would look super cute. But that's just a different way to wear it. But yeah, you can leave it without a clasp, and I'm gonna show you how to do this wire wrapping technique that takes literally seconds to do, but it's so cool and easy. But my kit, which is right here, on sale on silversilkonline.com, comes with everything except for the bead, because I'm encouraging you guys to shop with our other vendors and presenters in the Great Bead Extravaganza and find a bead that speaks to you. Roughly, this is about 30 millimeters long and maybe 15 millimeters wide. So if you're looking for a bead to kind of go with what this looks like, that's going to be your measurements. Again, 30 millimeters long and 15 millimeters wide. And that way you'll be prepared. You can grab the kit because these are shipping out very immediately. I know how UPS and USPS and all the other mail services are right now. Trust me, they're not fun. But I appreciate your patience. People are getting their orders, just not on time. But, hang in there and keep an eye on that tracking, you guys. That's all I can advise. So I keep my fingers crossed here on the back end for some of that stuff too. But it's shipping. Like it stinks because it's right out of our hands and in someone else's until we get it in our hands. But trust me, I have dropped off your packages at the post office myself. And that way, did I say EPS? Or is it EPS? Are you making a joke, Joy? I gotta know. Stephanie, you've got yours. Okay, so that's good. I'm so glad. And Donna says you ship fast. Yes. Yeah, shipping on my end is fast. Shipping in transit, not so much. So, again, just keep an eye on those things. What else? The Great Bead Extravaganza is coming up. We've got our mystery kit that's happening on February 16th, the Northern Lights. So if you haven't grabbed it already, you'll want to grab one of those and expect that in the mail. We've got 2 projects for that we're doing on February the 6th, or 16th, February 16th. So that'll be after Great Bead Extravaganza. The same day, you guys, I'm announcing the next kit for February and March. This is, I don't know, each kit just gets better and better. Like, I love this rainbow-themed way to start the new year. And then, kicking it off into something completely different for the next kit, which I think will be very, very cool, sophisticated, and it's just, I love the knitted wire for that one too. But they're all custom made. Every kit has a custom made knitted wire. I did it. Colors that won't be on the website, part of the standardized color set that I have. These kits are designed solely to just indulge me and you guys with all of the possibilities of SilverSilk and the different types of chains that I'll be creating that won't be found anywhere else. So that's a special part about it. All right. Well, I've run out of things to say. But I loved hanging out with you guys, and this was so fun, and I got to teach you guys some really cool tricks and tips with Hollow Mesh. Again, give the Bangles a try. Let us know in the Silkies Facebook group that they worked for you, the tips and tricks, and the Hollow Mesh, and the chopstick, or knitting needles, because I learned some new stuff tonight too. And the next Tuesday toot, I'll have that project up and running here before the weekend or by the weekend, and let you guys know what we're going to be making for that one. But otherwise, keep it creative and keep it fun. And thank you so much for your support for my tiny, tiny baby store. one man owned, one man operated. I don't have a staff. It's all me behind the scenes that's doing these videos, and then I run into the other room and I ship orders. So that's my life in a good way. I don't think I could be happier. All right. I look forward to seeing you guys again soon, and I love all of you so much and enjoy hanging out with you. Just hit me up on orders at silversilkonline.com if you have any questions. I typically don't check the Facebook messages too often, so email is the best way to reach me, and you can find these materials on www.silversilkonline.com, and these videos are uploaded later to YouTube on the SilverSilk and More YouTube channel in case you've missed it. All right, have a good evening, you guys, and I'll catch you later. Bye.